The matter between the Public Protector Mkhwebane and the South African Reserve Bank. Our reporter Abongile Dumako is at the Constitutional Court. He joins us now via the telephone. Abongile, thank you very much indeed for coming through. Just firstly, give us some of the reaction you've been getting at court there with regards to this ruling.
Good morning, Blaine. Certainly, a scathing report, against the Public Protector Advocate Mkhwebane, as of course Justice Mkhwebane was delivering. The very Public Protector was sitting in the gallery. You could see her frowning. You could see her, puzzled, to an extent shocked with what was being revealed in as far as the judgment is concerned. We did get a chance, of course, to speak to her immediately after the judgment, saying that this will need to attend to as quickly and as attentively as possible to get to understand basically on what basis has she been labelled as somebody who acted in bad faith in this whole saga that involves the Reserve Bank and, of course, the bank rob issue, saying that she's going to take time to read the judgment and, of course, she will give a comprehensive reaction as to how she sees the judgment, because she believes she's done all what she was required to do as a public protector, and she doesn't see any flaw in as far as this report is concerned.
Yeah, you used the word that's been floating around in social media, scathing. In terms of this judgment, she's no doubt going to study the judgment, but she answered a question put to her during this impromptu press briefing, and she said she never told falsehoods under oath. What does this ruling mean for her, do you think?
From what I understand, she means in some cases, she does get to be under pressure. She does get to find herself in a position where she actually has to act out of, the scope, or because of there's some pressure from political parties and things like those, saying that this judgment does set a precedent for future, public protectors to be able to stand firm, if you like, in as far as the criticism is concerned, saying that as far as she is concerned, because she was even asked that if she acted in bad faith, having been the custodian of the law, it really does come as a huge blow for an advocate, saying that as well, she can't really admit as to basically that's the case, but she understands that, at the end, or rather in the midst of all the wind that is going on, this really will create a wrong precedent for future public protectors, that everybody now has to sort of take everything that she does or reports into review, challenging the reports in court. Again, a blow for her, Blaine. We look at the fact that now she might have to pay that 15% on legal costs, which was the original judgment by the North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria. That
15%, do we know what it adds up to? What sort of amount are we looking at here?
I'm not sure if it's the correct exact amount, but we've been seeing reports, and of course through social media, saying that it's around 600,000 rand. Something, of course, that Justice Mkhwebane said it really would come as a bit of a disadvantage in as far as her purse is concerned. That is now Mkhwebane, because now she's come to light that she did act in bad faith. She didn't consult all the involved parties before coming to the conclusion, and of course the remedial actions that she has put forward now have been put aside by the North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria. Now she really is in a position where she's going to have to, suffer as a result of what, was handed down as judgment prior to today's judgment in Pretoria.
This ruling is very material, Abongile. In the other case, the High Court found that the Public Protector's report on the Mkhwebane dairy project was unlawful, unconstitutional and invalid. That dairy project is being currently dealt with at the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture. With regards to the issue of the Public Protector paying the legal costs in her personal capacity, the court then decided to postpone the finding on the subject until the Constitutional Court had handed down its judgment in the Absa Bancorp matter, correct?
Yes, of course. Now it's a matter of waiting and see what will transpire in as far as that, report on the Mkhwebane dairy farm, the Estina dairy farm in Mkhwebane in the Free State. Again, from what I've seen transpire today, one cannot think but imagine more, I would say, embarrassing moments are on the way for the Public Protector. For the fact that now, if you look as well, what we've seen transpire last night from President Cyril Ramaphosa, saying that the very report that has to do with the Butata also is being taken on review. Really, there's a trend that we are seeing in as far as all the reports that, the Public Protector puts on the table being reviewed, some being challenged in court, some being, dismissed in court, set aside and things like those. Really, she's going to have to go that extra mile, if you like, to convince us as South Africans as to really, she knows what she's doing. The benefit of doubt to her, she said that like this one, and of course the Sina Dairy Farm one, she's going to study, what the Constitutional Court had to say, the pile of the judgment that she's yet to speak. And that we'll wait to hear from her in as far as her way forward is concerned, what she's going to say. But from what I sensed during that quick press conference we had with her just a little while ago, she's confident that she's done and followed all the necessary procedures in as far as conducting her investigation is concerned. Any reaction, Abongile, from the South African Reserve Bank? South African Reserve Bank, I understand, will release a statement later on today with regard to what transpired at the Constitutional Court. We've been trying to get a hold of them. They say that let's not just give them a few minutes, a few hours, but during the course of the day, they will be in a good position to release a statement, and then we can always take it from there. All right, Abongile Dumako is at the Constitutional Court. Thank you very much indeed for your reporting. So you've heard about an organization called Hands Off Our Democracy. There's another one called Hands Off Our Public Protector. Thabo Mtsweni is in studio now. He's a spokesperson for this organization. Thabo, thank you very much indeed for coming through. Firstly, your initial reaction with regards to this ruling against the Public Protector.
I think it's very unfortunate because the Constitutional Court is setting a wrong precedent. What is happening here is that from today onwards, the Public Protector and other Chapter 9 institutions, it means that when they're doing their job, they are not going to act impartially, they are not going to act with fairness, because at this moment that this judgment says that if you err, that means that you have to pay. And it's unfortunate that the justice system in South Africa with regards to judges does not work the same way, because the judges get their appeal dismissed in higher courts, but they don't have to pay.
Well, she I think appealed to the High Court. She was denied. She appealed to the Supreme Court of Appeal. She was denied. The Constitutional Court took on the matter, and one of the findings was it upholded the High Court finding that the Public Protector acted in bad faith. Pretty scathing, isn't it?
It is pretty scathing, but she was doing her job. I think it would be unfair of us to judge her on what she was given. She went and investigated, and all the matters, according to her, it means that she got it right. But for now, because she was doing her job as a public protector, a Chapter 9 institution, now she has to pay for doing her job. So I think it's very unfortunate.
The Constitutional Court, in a way, has judged her. Yes. Let's look at the Court of Public Opinion.
Yes.
When you see the back and forth coming, some criticism leveled against the Public Protector, fair?
No, it's not fair.
Why not?
Because you remember that there's two judgments that were dismissed in court. One being this one we're talking about, and the other one being the Estina Dairy Farm. In both those judgments, only one today was upheld in the Constitutional Court. So that means since the beginning of this year, since she started as the Public Protector, only one judgment was against her. So the public opinion, people saying that she must step down, the SACP and everyone else did not have anything against her. Because if you look at her record as well, she did over 48,900 investigations. Of that, more than 38,200 completed, issued 102 reports, meaning that 101 reports today, she's not incompetent, only one report. So to say that she must step down, it means that the next Public Protector is not even going to be allowed to air.
Look, I fully understand that she, as well as her spokesperson, Opa Sakhalwe, was saying that when she came into office, there was about 16 cases that were pending in terms of taking on review for the last Public Protector. But I guess what's the sentiment on the ground from some quarters is that there seems to be a trend developing, rightly or wrongly so, in terms. But this is the perception I'm trying to get in. And when you hear a court saying, the Constitutional Court, the highest court in the land, saying that she acted in bad faith and the entire model of the investigation was flawed, that puts pressure on the office as a whole, isn't it?
That's true. That's why I'm saying only this judgment now out of 48,000 investigations. So it's very unfair to say now she must go because of one judgment against her.
But what's worrying the people out there is how scathing the findings are.
I don't think it's worrying as such, because the public perception has been created by some media houses, some journalists that are out to tarnish her image, civil society organization that, funny enough, with the previous public protector, they always protected the office, but now they turn around and said, no, we don't want to protect this office because of the incompetent. So it's very unfair on her, it's very unfair on the office, because what, as South Africans, what we need to be doing every day is to protect the constitution, protect institution of our democracy. Public protector is one of them. So if she issues a report and someone goes and apply for review on that report, we need to let that process to take place before we can even say, but the public protector has done this and that. So as I'm saying now, only one judgment is against her out of 48,000.
Confidence, public confidence in the office of the public protector is key. That was even stated yesterday by the president when he had this media briefing. The removal of the public protector from office is now contentious as well. There's a call for an inquiry before Parliament. Should that go on and happen, and for her to lay out her case as well in terms of deciding whether she is indeed the right person for the job and competent?
I think that process, it will be unfair as well for that process to go through, because as I'm saying, only one judgment is against her. The Histera Daily Farm is still with the court. So we cannot say that now, because of this one judgment against her, it means that the Parliament must start the process, meaning that the next public protector that is going to come after her, if she's removed, she's not even going to be allowed to air, because once she makes one mistake, or seemingly that she's going to make a mistake, she'll be removed from the office.
Look, she is answerable to Parliament.
That's true.
So those that are criticizing her, would you say they have a right to? Because the office is not above criticism as well. It's an important office, it's a Chapter 9 institution, but it's not above criticism, isn't it?
That's true. I also think it's unfair coming from an organization like SACPs, that now they are protecting the individuals instead of protecting institution of our democracy. So it's very unfair, because I think the attack, it's more on the public protector, but not on the office itself. So it's very unfair at the moment that everyone wants to attack the public protector. And as I said earlier, this is because of the negative perception that media is creating on her name every day. I don't think it's fair at all. Yes, of course, yes. There's so many things that are happening. Yes, people can say whatever they want to say, but at the end, let's go back to the numbers. What is her record? I think her record is fair at the moment.
The SACP Mapaila, said yesterday, I was listening to him, and he said she should not allow herself to be a hired gun of politicians. He stopped short of actually calling her a hired gun.
Yes.
Those utterances in public, the public spat between the SACP and the public protector, what does that do to the confidence of the office?
I think it's very damaging. As I said earlier on, the calls from the SACP, even the public protector has issued them with a letter to say that Mapaile needs to withdraw them. It's very unfortunate.
I think they said they weren't going to apologize.
It's very unfortunate, because what Solima Paila is doing now is he's standing against he's standing with individuals, against the office of the public protector, against the institution of democracy. So if we're to be fair, if we're to judge the office, we need at this very moment, all of us as South African, we need to protect the office of the public protector. Hence we stood up and say we need to protect this office, because we cannot every day attack the office of the protector. That is damaging on her credibility, that is damaging on the institution. And at the moment, what is very worrying in South Africa is that everyone seems to think that the public protector is a last resort. It is not like that. You've got the NPA, you've got the Hawks, you've got a whole range of institutions that people can go to for issues of corruption and things like that. But everyone wants to blame the public protector for everything wrong that is going on in the country.
She released a very significant material report against the president on Friday. She says the president violated the executive code of ethics and the constitution. Yes. It's serious findings.
That's true.
It alleges conduct that cannot be taken lightly, as the president admitted yesterday. The EFF says the president should take a leave of absence once this matter is sorted out, while this matter is sorted out. You agree?
I wouldn't say I agree with the call, but I think there's fairness in that call, because now the president is standing against the Chapter 9 institution, the very same institution that the president must be the first one to actually protect this institution. So I don't know how the president is going to do that, but I think the entire statement from the president yesterday is also unfortunate, the way he dealt with the issues of the public protector. And
but he did say that by him taking this on an urgent review is no way commenting on the public protector herself as well as her motives, isn't it? You made that clear.
Yes, that's true. But
you don't accept that?
I don't think I'll accept it, because exactly immediately after he said that, then he turns and say, but I don't trust that office. That's why I've taken this issue under review.
Yeah.
Of course, it's his right to take the issue under review, but it's unfortunate that the president at the moment will be the first one to say that I don't have confidence in that office.
Thank you very much indeed for your perspective and coming through and giving your side of the story. Thank you very much indeed. That was Thabo Mtsweni, spokesperson for Hands Off the Public Protector. We're going to take a quick break. Get you more news next.
Thank you very much.